Alright, so the major update just released for the last one of the year is released at a really weird time at like 12:30 in the morning, which was really weird. But so I wanted to go over everything really quick, and then I'm gonna start playing and start trying to get some of this new stuff. I don't really grind stuff because that really ruins how the game is. So the RDFLT got smoke launchers. It got 6, 3 pops. Step V2 got LSW into its laser rangefinder modification. I didn't check if it got Rosy or not. I hope it got Rosy. Type 25 and Type 24 got basically a air quotes proxy fuse round. It's the HETF that works when you lock the tank, lock the aircraft that you're shooting at. Like all the MBTs got. Type 90 got the trunnion added, so when you shoot the breach, it doesn't get breached. So they added that for like a bunch of Russian things, and that's really been screwing up how you fight Russian tanks, which is, they peek under you or over you, and you shoot their breach, and then they lose. Not anymore. Trunnion just kind of eats it, even though the round looks like it hits the breach. SLM got more gears, so it goes faster. ELC BIS got artillery. The TAM got its weight reduced by a half a ton, but it got its elevation moved from 12 to 7, which it already struggled with a little bit. The HVMS Zelda got its so the hull was canted up a little bit. Now it's completely level, so that you have a little bit more depression now. The R400 got a huge nerf. So in the back of the turret, it's a TAM turret, but it's got thermals. In the back of the turret of the TAM, there is about, what would I say? There's a ready rack back there. They removed that and gave it like a 4-round ready rack, and then they put 2 rounds on the floor. So not only has 20 rounds. Going through the rest, Chieftain 900's a little faster. Stog 2 has a smoke launcher. They added 2 more. They added a double pylon for AMRAMs in the wings for the Typhoons. The MRML pylons get added for the Golden Eagle, so now it has instead of 8 AMRAMs, it has 12. The LDRCM got added for the Apaches, for the UK, for Japan, for Taiwan, and for France. The JH7s. The A and the A prototype, the J10A, JF17, J11B, and the J10C, which came in, so they're not listing it. They got 4 LS6 250 IR guided bombs, which is nice. MG151's got increased damage. Drop tanks for the SU7. Losing ammunition, more ammunition, custom loadouts. Drop tanks and then custom loadouts, and then. What else would there be? You don't have to take targeting pods if you want to bomb, kill you. And then that's about it for looking at stuff in the list. So we're gonna go to the Booker. So the M10 Booker got added. So it's basically, back in the day, the 120 Abrams had a 6-second reload, and then the IPM-1, which was I think 10-7, had a 5-second reload and M900, so it was the best Abrams. It was really good. But then that got moved up. So now the Booker has M900 and that 5-second reload. So now you're gonna, 10-7 is gonna be really, really nice with this thing. The damage was something that the M1 was lacking. It was fast, it had a good reload, but the damage was something you were lacking, especially side shots on 2A4s, side shots on things with that relict ERA or whatever the hell the T72 B3 and the BVM have on the sides, and the T90. That's all the the NASAMs. So you get a Humvee NASAMs, and then the TEL launcher. You can see the missiles all set up here. Sweden got one too from the Norwegians. So the only thing that's better, air quotes better, on the C7 than the AMRAAM ER is the trigger radius, which is 12 meters instead of 6. But the AMRAAM ER is faster and it pulls way harder. And then of course you have the Block 2. So you're gonna want to take like some Block 2s, but majority you're gonna want to take 3/4 AMRAAM ERs and then 1/4 AIM-9X Block 2s. Moving on to aviation, starting at the Golden Eagle, the MRML pylons are, as you can see here, is just 2 more on each side. They did not add the amber pylons because Smin's like, we can't guarantee that it actually shoots. It's like, shut up, idiot. He's not actually an idiot, but it's just stupid. So yeah, you're going to be taking, you know, your 4 MRML, you know, C5s, and then you'll take the rest 120Bs. I would assume anyway. Maybe you would take, you know, 2 more 120Bs here, and then you would take, you know, or you know, you take 6 C5s, and then you take 6 maybe. So you take 4 or 6 C5s, and you take 6 or 8 120Bs. I'm gonna say taking 8 120Bs. And then so now you have they added in the FA-18A, or sorry, the FA-18E. Jesus, I'm having a hard time. So it gets an extra pylon here, and it gets new engines and stuff like that. So you've got, you know, 12 AMRAAMs of either type, and then you've got 12 9Ms. But what you're going to be taking for ground, which is what I'm going to be focusing on, you're going to be taking the, you know, the 6 AGM-65Fs, and you take the 1000 in the middle. You'll take the 2. You know, you'll take the 120B, and then you'll take the 9M on the wingtip. Or if, you know, you're dealing with a lot of the SPA, you can target, you know, in the mini map wherever you want to drop these, and you could take, you know, 2 or 4, whatever, and then you can have the 65Gs, whatever you want, whatever the situation calls for. For Army, for Germany, there is the Jaguar 2, which is just a Rakuten Jagdpanzer chassis with some added on armor. It's got TOW 2s. Thermals, and it's open top with 1 exposed crew. You've got the TOW 2, TOW 2A, TOW 2B, and 14 rounds. As you can see, the R400 got that nerf. The aviation side, which I'll only look at one of these nations, just, you know, to keep it quick, is, you know, you've got the 120Bs, you've got the C5s, so you've got 8 now instead of 6. You've got all that other stuff that you had before. Now the AESA Typhoons have 8 spices, and you take, honestly, the rest brimstones, and then of course you still got the fuselage 120Bs, and then you've got the 2 here, so you've got 8, and then 10 air-to-air missiles. Russia, you've got 3 new ground vehicles. 2 are BMPTs, and then the 1 is the Torum 1. Torum 1 is exactly the same as China. This one should have came first and in place of the Pantsir, but, you know, we had to have the Pantsir. Looking at this, the only difference between the two is that this one has 5 crew instead of 3, and you've got these weird AG-30 grenade launcher here. So I hope, you know, you might fucking explode. And how they did it is, you know, in the video of the BMPT firing, is that they're both firing at the same time, shaking all over. So now and for a while they actually didn't have it both of the belts modeled, but now they do. But so what happens, how BVVD has decided himself to model it is that 1 barrel fires, you run out of ammo, it switches to the other one, so it goes right and then left. Realistically, it should fire at the same time, but, you know, people wham about fucking, you know, or the video, the barrels are shaking. Obviously, the designers didn't intend for the barrels to be shaking all over. So, you know, you should go by what, you know, reasonably what the designer's intent was, which is, you know, they both fire at the same time. The guns are stable. They suppress fire at the same time, but they don't. And that's how just Gaijin decided. The difference between these is just where the HEGMs are and the armor and the side armor and stuff like that. So yeah, you have 2 crew in the turret instead of and then you have the 1 in the hull instead of the 3. Yeah, you know, this one has slightly better armor, but you lose 2 crew. The one thing to note about the Attack-A-1s is they're not like Cornets, where you can fire all 4 at the same time and guide them. You know, they kind of follow, like, they'll kind of swerve like a conga line. They're sort of like Vickers. They differ from the initial Attackas because you could only fire 1 at a time. It's sort of like TOWs, where you'd fire 1 and then the other would drop away. This one fires like a Vicker, where if you fire 2 of them in close succession to each other, they will guide on the same beam. So, you know, they're single guide or they're double guide, essentially. Aviation-wise, you got the DBLK, which I'm kind of just going to skip over. You know, it's fat, it's big. You know, it gets bombs, woohoo. The wing area does not equal it pulls well. It doesn't. Even though it has a double elevator, it does not pull well at all. The SU-30 SM2 got added. Now, it is basically just an SU-30 SM, but with the SU-35 radar and engines, which you get about 1,500 more kilograms of force in afterburner and about 1,000 in regular non-afterburning, so dry. And then you get a 240-degree in total, like, radar, so you can be in the notch and guide missiles past the notch, and fire missiles actually past the notch. So that's why I have the ERs in my favorite weapons. You've got all the cool stuff from your MTs, whatever. But that's why I have the because these are basically just going to be you can't escape ERs anymore. Like you used to be able to escape ERs. Force them go into notch and they have to unlock the ER. He can be in the notch and keep the ER locked. He can be in the notch and keep the data link up for the -1. So you're kind of just cooked now. Going into the UK for the Army, it's nice at 10.3. You got the Ajax. You got 62 rounds in the ready rack, so that's basically twice as many as the CV90 40s. And you have a round that pens more. It's the same gun as on the Jaguar. You have no zoom on the gun, which is very uncomfortable to use. But yeah, you have a good fire rate. Not as fast as the 9040s, but good round. Still at same BR as the 9040s at 10.3, or the 9040 at 10.3. LDSM, as I said before, got added to all the H64Es. For aviation, these two got their stuff. For Army, for Japan, they added the Type 03 TADS and the TEL. So you've got the TADS. It's basically what I would call as a mini Patriot. This looks like a mini Patriot radar. This looks like a mini Patriot TEL. But in the missile even looks like a mini Patriot, but it has really good range, decent pull, trigger radius is decent at 6 meters, and yeah, it's very fast. So going on to helicopters, LDRCM for that one. For aviation, they added in the Hawk 209, which is just basically the regular Hawk 200, but with P4s on the wings and AGM-65Gs. You only get 2 of them, so you're going to want to either take 2 bombs or Hydras, and then you've got the gun in the middle, which people tried to bug report for the RDA for UK, but it didn't go. They got denied because of a little bump. They added in this MiG-29, which is basically 919 weapons, except for the ground ordnance. You just got R-77s, and the radar allows for 2 to data link, so you can fire 2 in data link. You got ERs, ETs, R-73s. Fuel tank. I don't know about the radar. I didn't look. You got the F-18D, which is classic. It's a beautiful paint scheme. The Royal Malaysians, it's just beautiful. It's just an F-18C late, but with a 2-seater. You've got a 65 Gs targeting pod, 1000. You've got the B, and then you've got the 2 9s. And if you want to take the LJDAM 62s, you can. Basically, this is really nice to see for Japan, because it's an SE-30 SM, but it has MOS. It has MOS 300. So you can see all the missile warning approach modules on it, and it's exactly the same. And they even have the export version of the R-77, the SD, or the -1. So I didn't include the ERs in because it doesn't have that new radar. This is just an SM, but with MAW. Moving on to China. China got the HQ-11, which is basically a TEL and TADS in the same vehicle. It has the FM 3000, which is the HQ-17 has the FM 2000. Something to note about this is HQ-17 is that it has the production missiles like in the chassis and whatever, but the radar is actually the prototype's radar. So it's a mismatch, sort of like the Shalef for Israel. The M1A2T for Taiwan, for the Chinese tech tree, got added. It has a M830 A1 for proxy fusing, and then it has the KEW A2, which is basically functionally identical to the M829 A2. And I believe it has Gen 2 or Gen 3 thermal, so that's nice. For aviation, we're going over all the LS6s. So you've got so it's making basically the Chinese tree more adept and better at CAS. So you've got the 4, you take the PLE5E2s, you do a low pass on a SPA or whatever. So it can't kill you. J10C came in, it got 8 PL12s. I really should say that they should give China the PL12 AEs if they give like an extended range or something, or pull, because they need something. They're going to get outmatched by a lot of stuff. J10 is very good. for air anyway. But focusing on ground, you've got these, you've got the triple racks, these, but they're laser guided, so you're gonna want to take these 4, and then take 3 on the fuselage, and then have the targeting pod here, PL-12s in the middle, PL-8Bs on the wingtips. You'll have a solid loadout. Moving over to the J-11B. What I would say, either you take the targeting pod, 1 out, and then you have these 2 in the middle, or have 1 and have a PL-12, or you can take 4 of the KH-29TEs, 2 of these on the wings, your PL-5Bs, and then you'll have the 2 PL-12s in the middle. So you have, you'll have 6 kills, and then you'll have 4 kills for air, and then you have the the ground weapons and whatever. GH7's got it. I would say maybe you would take these over the KH-29s. I'm not certain. KH-29s are pretty nice, so you've got 4 KH-29s. You take you could interchangeably take these, and then you have that, and then you've got the PL-5E2s, PL-8s, and PL-8Bs. You really are going to want to take the PL-5E2s over the PL-8 because of the IRCM is better. They have a shorter burn too, so they do much better. JF-17 got them. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these 4. You'll take the one in the middle, and then you'll have their 2 PL-5s. Because they have decent thermal resolution for a bomb. Now, something that I'm very happy to see is the Su-30 MKK. Because the MKK got 2 things different than the MK2MV. It got Chinese weapons in the form of PL-12s and PL-8Bs. So you're going to want to ignore the PL-8Bs because you already have R-73s. Now this for air, I want to say that if Bad Karma does make a video on this, it's going to be very nice to see. Maybe not in the current meta. Maybe he avoids, the 14.3 shit show. But in terms of like capability wise, it's worlds better than the J11A and the MK2MV that got added, just because that it gets the PL-12s, and the PL-12s have very good off-the-rail pull, and they have way better sustained range than the R-77s, which just kind of drag themselves with these angle fins. They just kind of slow them. They air brake themselves when they maneuver. And then you've got the PL-12 and R-73 combo is very nice. And of course, for ground, you're going to want to, have this one in the back. You'll have the KH-29s and your Cobb 1500 KR, or you have your bombs and whatever. You get your 7 kills, and then you have, your 1 air kill with the Fox 3, and then you have your 4 air kills with the Fox 2, and then you have a very good 30 mil. So, it's very, very good premium to pick up on half off. Do not spend full price on it. If you are, you're stupid. For ground, Italy got the Freccia OSW, which is basically just the VCC's gun, but with the Freccia. Instead of 2 side mounts, as you can see on the turret, it's more of a simplified, which is 2 here. Still has the same 10 backup, so it has a 10 including the 2 in there, and then it's just 30 mil, and a crewless turret. So that's nice, and it's at 10.7 as well. So you have the 2 10.7s, 3 10.7s, 4 10.7s. Then you've got, but moving on to planes, they added the MB2, so they added the MB 326B, which doesn't have the 30 mils. It has 250 cals. So basically you're going to be taking 250 cals, and then you'll be taking the Zunis. For that, ASA and these are the same as the other ones that I talked about before. Nothing new for France ground, LDRCM for the H-64E here. F3R is exactly the same as the F3, just a little bit heavier because of the carrier operation gear. Going into ground for Sweden, you have the NASAMS, just a different TEL, different TADs, but the same specs in the missiles as I spoke about before. For basically the king of the update in terms of CAS is the Gripen E. Now, the Gripen E has 16 Spice 250s, so, seeing as if they work correctly, that's 16 guaranteed kills just off these. And it's 18 if you take the Spice 1000s, or if you get your 6 kills on this, you get 22 kills just off your ground ordnance, because the Brimstones are so powerful. You have your Bull Pod Fox 3s, and then you have the centerline Fox 3s as well. I would say, Actually, that they actually should be able to carry. Um, let's see here. Maybe they're able to put these the bull pod racks in the center. I'm not certain about fuselage clearance or whatever. But yeah, so you've got JDAMs, you've got this insane amount of Spice 250s, you've got the Brimstones, and you've got a very, very good radar. It goes past. It's sort of like the SU-35 radar that came on the yeah, you can see 200 degrees. So it's just you can side and you can notch people while being TWS tracking several AMRAMs. So yeah. And then I don't think only thing that Israel got was the Merkava Mark 1, which was the event vehicle that came for the US. Other than that, yeah, that's the update. And yeah, we've got the king of the update here in terms of Cass. I mean, 16 spices. Are you kidding me? That is disgusting. You just top down the entire team. They can't beat it. If this thing gets 10 kilometers with if it gets 10 kilometers away from the battlefield, it's over. You have the gun, you've got the airframe, you've got all this. It's just so powerful. Yeah.